I'm Coach Amber, and today we are here with Anthony, and he's going to tell us about his success story with the carnivore diet. Hi, Anthony.
How you doing today?
Good, good. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so let's get to it. Can you give us an idea of what it was like prior to you starting carnivore? Fill us in of what was going on in your life and kind of how were you eating at that time, etc.
Sure. So in about 2018 is when I made the decision to go carnivore. I started Memorial Day weekend of that time. But prior to that, I am a fitness professional and a licensed nutritionist myself. But sometimes, like everyone, you get caught up in life, work, dealing with other clients. My diet was never as strict. I would occasionally indulge in pizza, pasta, things like that. I'd keep it relatively clean, but it was never to the point of like doing an all meat diet or focusing on myself. And I decided to take that weekend to really strict after the information I came across and found, and thought that this would be something I would want to try. I've never tried it before. What do I have to lose? And I started from that weekend, and I immediately went into doing a lot of red meat. I went into ribeye, steaks, burgers, things of that nature. Kept chicken in my diet. Eliminated dairy because I always kind of had a problem with it myself anyways. Did keep eggs. But other than that, I kept it clean from that point on, and now we're coming up on 2 years, and I've never gone back. And I have to say that's probably the greatest decision I made was that weekend 2 years ago.
That's awesome. I love that. Were you having any like major issues that you needed to address at all?
Honestly, the biggest issues I had going before that was I did have a dairy issue, but unless I had something to like kind of help myself say, no, I'm not going to have this, I always indulged. So this allowed me, one, to cut that out and eliminate that problem. I also had really bad allergies for a long time. And I don't know how this works or anything along that nature, but for me, my allergies cleared up immediately when I started this diet. I never had an issue going forward with it. I was someone who was always taking Zyrtec and Flonase, and I'd spent 2 years of almost being 100% clean of no problems with my allergies. Other than that, my confidence levels went up. Sleep was better. I found myself way more energy without having to have caffeine integrated into it. I just think eliminating a lot of processed foods and things that my body didn't necessarily need, and depending on really bad carbohydrates for energy, getting that out of my system, my body just ran good on its own. And my recovery from workouts increased dramatically. So a lot of it was issues I didn't even know I really had until I changed. And then I saw the difference. I could feel the difference, and other people could notice it. And then I realized that, okay, maybe there's something here.
That's awesome. Okay, so when you first started carnivore, can you give us an idea of how you implemented it? Like, what did you eat? Maybe how often you ate, and did you have any transitional issues when you started?
I was actually lucky enough not to have too many transitional issues because I was so gung-ho. I was really planned ahead. I gave myself a weekend to kind of get myself set and started on the Monday. When I did, what I did then compared to now has changed a little bit to where I would prep everything at the beginning of the week and get my grill out, and I cook a bunch of meat. I would cook a lot of burgers. I did a lot of ribeyes, steak tips. I kept it a lot of red meat, ground beef, and then I would do chicken breast, and I would do egg whites in the morning. My transition from then to now has been more of I go into more of an intermittent fasting type mode, especially being a personal trainer with a lot of clients. I usually break my fast around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, till about 9, 10 o'clock at night, eating periodically. The majority of my food actually comes in the middle of my workouts. I'll start my warm up and I'll eat as I'm working out. And I have that, luxury since I own my own studio. So I'm able to do that without, getting weird looks or anything. But I find I'm fueling myself as I'm burning my energy off. And just like a car, you would fill up your gas as you're on the drive. And I feel like if I'm putting the meat into my system as I'm working out, I get more results that way. But now I'll cook, about a couple days in advance, not so much like a big long prep, but it did help me when I first started. And if it's something that you're not comfortable doing, or if you're not someone who's like really traditionally meal prepped prior, it is good to prep a lot at the beginning, I felt, because then all I had to do in the morning was open up the containers, pack the meals I wanted to for the day, take them with me to work. And then there was no temptation. I had 3 or 4 containers of burgers, sausages, steak tips, things along that, where I would never get to the point where like, oh, maybe I'll call for something, or I'll put myself in a position where I'm in a supermarket or things of that nature to where I might deviate from the plan. I kept it very simple for myself. And I found that really got me comfortable with the diet to where, a few months in, it was second nature. I wasn't craving nothing. I wasn't looking for anything. I was excited about eating my meat. And then I would make it as I wanted to. And then I always try to do it at night. My last meal of the night would be something I made fresh for myself, so it felt a little differently. Put a steak on a grill, things like something like that, pan-seared, something different to where I wasn't eating it all day. It felt like I was something to look forward to. And then that was like my last meal of the night, and, kind of put me in, right before bed, and, have a protein shake if I was really having a craving for something. But that was about it.
That's great. Okay, so now here comes the exciting part, and we had a little bit of a chance to chat before we started, and I think your story is really pretty amazing, and it's not just success as far as health goes, but in other aspects of your life as well since you started Carnivore. Can you kind of go through the whole spectrum, your health as well as the other side?
Sure. So like I mentioned before, I started in Memorial Day of 2018. And in those 2 years, as a self-owned business owner and personal trainer and nutritionist, although my business has taken off. And I completely think that it correlates to that. Now, obviously, a lot of people can say you can't point at one thing, but in my mind, I can, because at that point, that's where I got myself right. I started focusing on my nutrition, my fitness, which in then turn brought my passion for fitness back in. It made me want to look up more workouts and wanted me to give back to my clients more. It's kind of like that old adage, like you can't love someone until you love yourself. So with me, it's like, unless I focused on myself and trained myself in a sense to be the best I could be, I don't think I could give the best to my clients. And I think my clients also started coming to me more because they saw the changes in me. They saw that I was making the commitment, that if I could go there and do something as hard as giving up the things that everyone always considers like the luxuries of food, and went hardcore and really did this and got myself in the best shape possible, it came to them. They saw that. And then they saw how I was with my clients fitness wise. And then I just noticed little things on the way. My confidence levels went through the roof. My sleep was better, which in turn made my work be better. My allergies cleared up, which I've had for years, and I didn't have to worry about them. Little things you don't notice in your life cleared up along the way, which made life easier. Things that you don't necessarily point to and say, well, that's making my life hard, because it was everyday life. Like I need a coffee in the morning to get myself going. I was waking up like ready to take on the world. My workouts were going through the roof. My recovery rate was better because the grams of protein from my body weight were coming in so easily. All the little things that you don't think about before were happening to me. And in the last 2 years, I've expanded my business to 2 separate studios. Now I'm in the one I'm in now that I opened November of this past year. Business, has never been better. And even with everything that's going on in the world today, I still feel that confidence about, once everything goes back, I'll be fine. And I'm able to have that mindset because I know that I conquered something that was very hard for me. I come from a full-blooded Italian family in Boston that owns several restaurants and pizzerias, and I was able to say, I'm not going to have this. So for me to do that, it actually goes to my clients because they're like, well, if this guy can do it, and he's around it all the time, not just someone who can pick up a phone and call up a Domino's, he's someone that lives with it, and he doesn't cheat, he can do it, then I can do it. Because a lot of times I find clients will say, well, you're a trainer, you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to be in shape. Like, well, that's not exactly it. I'm still human. But I was able to weigh it out and say, okay, look at all the good this diet's done for me. Look at where I've gotten. I've never been as successful business-wise or, personally enjoyed my physique as much to now. And now I weigh and go, okay, well, this gave me that. And what did it give me before? Well, the diets I was having before never gave me the satisfaction I have now. It outweighs it. So when I have to make that decision, if someone's really tempting me with something, I guess it's not worth it because the risk doesn't outweigh it. Everything I've done on this has gone positive. So why would I even risk going back to the way I was before? And that's what keeps me pushing ahead because I've gotten so much positive, feedback and positive results. Like I was explaining earlier, like I've never in a million years would have thought I got into fitness modeling, and it's something new I've been doing for the last 4 months. I would have never done this before if I couldn't have gotten myself in the shape I was, and it's directly correlated to nutrition. And someone who's been in this industry for as long as I know how important nutrition is. And I've tried everything under the sun up until this, and this is the thing that put me over the top. And I can't speak to where I would be without it. I just know that I'm happy I did it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's a very amazing story. I'm very happy for you.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that you are a member of meatrx.com.
Yes, I am. I am a member, and to all those people who aren't members, and even just want information, I suggest that it's something you should sign up for. And the reason is because in this day and age with social media and there's so much information spread out, a lot of times with people's beliefs, or even if you're questioning and just want some more information, you sometimes will hold back because of the feedback you might get. This, what I feel, is like a safe haven. It is an area to ask questions, and if it's not for you, you will be told. And you can make the decision on your own. You're not going to get chastised. You're not going to feel like you're saying something you shouldn't say. Whereas on certain social media aspects or certain pages, you'll even just ask a question, and because you even brought up an opinion or a question that doesn't correlate with someone else's, you are immediately made out to be like a villain. And I don't think that's right. I think it's something to where you should be able to ask a question just like you would anything else. Is this good for me? How do I do this? Where's the support system into where this goes? Personally, for me, I got introduced to this whole thing through the Joe Rogan podcast, believe it or not. I heard the Bell brothers on there, and they were talking about Dr. Sean Baker. And this was a couple of years ago. It was right before I started the diet, and they pulled me in. I started doing my own research. That's when I found the website. That's when I found, Dr. Sean's pages and all the information he's put out there. And that's when I made the decision. Without that, I would have never maybe been as sold, but I was, because my questions were answered before I even asked them. All the information that was available to me, they didn't know who I was. They had no idea that this kid from Boston was thinking about trying this diet, nor should they have cared in a sense, but everything was there as if it did. It was all in front of me. I could see everything I wanted. Any question I wanted to ask was already answered. And I felt like, okay, if there's that many people doing this, and this, they seem like my type of people. The way that they were working out, similar body shapes, goals, I felt like, oh, I want to do this. And I can't stress enough how important that is. Because if you don't feel like you belong, or if you don't feel like you got all your questions, you're going to be hesitant. You're going to say, oh, I don't know if I go all in. I don't know. I can't do that. Well, there's all different body shapes, makes, models, people from everywhere that does this. You don't have to be your typical weightlifter guy. You can be anybody. It's for everybody, just like any other diet. And like I said, if you're going to go spend that $5 on People Magazine with, the Atkins special diet or this, that, and that, then why can't you just sign up for a free website and get some information for yourself? There's really no question in my mind why I would do it. And I hope maybe now people can see that it's not something to be scared of. It's something to really investigate. And there are a lot of good things that can come from it, whether you make the decision or not. But let yourself make the choice. Don't be influenced by anyone else. Take all the information in and see the people's success stories, see their mood changes. I'm just a normal guy. And this changed my whole life in a sense. And it's not being dramatic about it. It's legit. You look at it and you can see the changes that's happened in my life in the last 2 years. And I have to bring it back to this diet. And, I'm not being cheesy. It's true. I owe everything I do to this and what I'm doing. So anything I can do to stress someone to go down the path I did, sky's the limit. And I can't stress that enough.
I could not agree with you more. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is great information.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you coming on today and sharing your story. It's going to make a big difference to a lot of people.
Yep.
So thank you so much.
Hope I can help. Thank you.
And you have a wonderful day.